I want to tell you how these things are coming together, where best practice companies, where real thought leaders and practice leaders are taking this brand moment and bringing it into their companies, into their agencies, into their marketing teams. First, we need to recognize that interactive advertising needs a creative revolution. We got to really change the dialogue a bit in our industry, if nothing else. I think we got to do a lot more than that. But if nothing else, we've got to change the dialogue and stop talking about commodities and start talking about the great things that marketing communications, and advertising can do. And as the most successful people in the marketing and advertising business have recognized for decades and decades and decades, it begins with great ideas that change the hearts and minds of consumers. And that really begins with the notion of creative. Lucas Watson, who just left the position as head of digital for Procter & Gamble, said this at the IAB Mix conference 2 years ago. He unveiled some research that said creative quality drives 70% of the business impact they see from their return on advertising. This is the largest US consumer products advertiser and probably the most consistent thought leader in the advertising world over time. And they're talking about creative quality, and that was a message they wanted to deliver to a digital audience. It's also clear, we see this over and over, that some of the most successful efforts that we see in the marketplace really derive from creative agencies and publishers collaborating. I'll also add, it's not just creative agencies, it's media agencies. Media agencies are insourcing, I call it phantom rebundling, insourcing strategic and creative resources. We're seeing this kind of new rebundling in the agency business because we see this need to bring strategy and media together to create impact. I think it's also important, this is true for publishers as well as for agencies, and frankly for marketers too, that we need to make sure that technologists, product developers are part of our teams. This is second nature in technology-derived or technology-driven companies in our industry. But I will tell you, from looking at IAB membership, there's a big gulf between the way technology-centered companies, the West Coast companies, view product development, technology, and engineering, and the way legacy media companies in the East Coast do. We find very few, I see very few of our media companies here with these kind of product development and technology chops. They still kind of see the technologists as people who implement ideas developed by someone else. And that can't be the way. That was like the creative teams and creativity in agencies before Bill Bernbach. In the old days, I'm older than anyone here, in the old days, art directors were known as wrists. Copywriters ruled the roost. They created the campaigns by writing them out, and they literally and physically would slip the copy under the door into the art director's bullpen to just have the ad designed. It wasn't until Bill Bernbach came along that art directors and copywriters were joined into unified creative teams, and they held equal weight in those teams. That needs to happen now with technologists having equal weight in creative teams all along the value chain. And finally, I will quote myself. We need to make the heart beat. It's at least as important as making the mouse click, and probably more important to creating that enduring brand difference.